Hi everyone, it's Tracey here from Art Fibre Stitch. We're looking at a project we started last week. We started with this fabric, which I liked, the idea of having trees. So I started to look for different fabrics. Different fabrics created a different mood. But this is the one I chose because I wanted to do something like at night. Something like that. So I put some shiny net down. And then this tulle on top. I cut out some little shapes to represent leaves. And I laid that shiny webbing underneath. I added that strip of lovely fabric that blends them together. And I started stitching. I haven't stitched anything at the top yet, so I can still rearrange that how I want. I've cut out a little white moon. You might be able to see that I did use that lovely turquoise, and now I am looking at other things that I might want to use. So I have some nice shiny blue, some metallic ones, and these ones here I've grabbed out as well. These are metallic, kind of shiny, silky, different things. One is a woven ribbon, and one's like a knitted kind of ribbon. What I like about them is that I like to tease them out. See, this one here makes a lovely shape, and I can use that. This one here is the knitted kind of one, and when I pick the end here and pull, it'll unravel. See, like it's gone fizzy or fuzzy. So here I am, and this is now part 2. I've already stitched, and now I'm going to use some of that light blue that's nice and shiny, but I want something darker as well. I want a mid, a dark, and a light. So, oh, look at that there. That's nice. That's another shiny one. A nice royal blue. And here, I'm just picking out some ones that might be all right, that are a darker navy kind of blue. The darker shades I'll use towards the bottom, and the lighter one at the top. And it'll just flow through and maybe attach some of those things down. But I'm still rummaging. I have some bluish themed scraps here. And look at that. That's another one of those lovely mesh net kind of fabrics. It's a blue, shiny. See? It's sparkly, but not really too sparkly. Now, if I tear it like this, it'll make a more organic kind of shape. I can pop something like that behind as well. I haven't started stitching on the top just for this reason, so that I can still play with it and add some things maybe. Now, another thing I grabbed out was this. It's black, and it's a really interesting mesh. You get it in floristry. Quite often you'll see bunches of flowers are wrapped in it. I'm putting it behind here and seeing, and I'm thinking, no, it doesn't really show up. What I'm wanting is that deep, beautiful blue background. It's really been obscured by that tulle I laid over top. So I'm going to use some of this to darken it up, and I thought, well, at the same time, perhaps it could work as shadowy, bare trees in the background. So this is the idea. I'm popping it here. Now, because I've just cut it with the scissors, it's not really looking like what I'm thinking. But I think that I can fix that. Let me just pop the tree trunks on it and just see. I think still that could work. I've got out my little surround here so that I can see which bit I might like best. and that's the area I'll work on. But I like that black webbing. It certainly darkened it up, which is more in theme with what I'm wanting, like a nighttime sky. Now, because I cut it across here, it's just a bit blocky, so I'm just going to pick some bits out so that it looks more like bare branches coming up. That makes it look a whole lot more like trees. See, I could pop it down here. I'm kind of losing it a bit, and I did like that greeny fabric I popped on. So I could pop it up here in the sky, a little bit on the fabric underneath. But, you know, I think what I would really like is to have some of it up and over that moon. So placement of where you put things really does have its importance. And it's good to take the time to figure it out. I'm just starting with some more stitching now. I'm going to use the navy, and I'm going to start just doing some running stitch through this because I want to attach that black. So as I stitch, I'll be trying to trap it down. So I'll do little stitches in between, and then when I come across a little rib of that black, I'll go over it and make sure it's trapped down. Can you see? And I'll go one way and then I'll come back. But look at that, where it's cut, those thicker bits. They look like roots of the trees to me. So like I said, I'm going to use the darker and the lighter. And those two, there are a little bit of shine in it. Can you see here? It looks quite good like that. I'm thinking that this will work. When I get up to the top, I'll be putting in more of the silvery colour. The silvery blue. I like to use these little cutout frames here to pick out a picture to see which bit I like best. And that's where I'll concentrate my sewing. Something like that would be good. But I'm still not that happy with the net. I'm just wanting to pick a little bit more out, little snips here and there that will look like leaves, and add a little bit more of that dark blue. But let's start on the sky. I'm going to use this lovely silky light blue shiny thread. Just the one strand, I think. And I'll make sure that I'm also attaching that black net down. I'll put these lines actually running through the moon, and that way I know I've trapped those black trees down. With a long enough thread, I can do this running stitch across and then turn around and go back, and just until I finished it, really. Hasn't it changed? Hasn't it changed since the last episode? So before I finish this up the top here, I'm just wanting to, again, make sure that I've got those silvery bits of cloud in the right place. And then I stitch through a little bit more, making sure the top is also stitched down. Making fabric art like this, or textile art, is a really great creative process, and I'm keeping the stitches very simple. Slow stitching is just stitching by hand and not getting too concerned about whether they're straight lines. I actually like lines that are a little bit more natural. And so some of my lines will cross each other and ripple through the design. I won't try and make them straight. And see here, this little bit of shiny cloud? it sort of curves down. I'm going to follow that curve because I want it to stay like that. There. And then I'll just keep going on my way again over towards the other side. And then back again. Just using that one simple running stitch. And then when I've finished with any thread, I'll go through to the back with my needle, pulling the thread through, and do a couple of stitches on top of each other, and that will act as a knot. And that will make sure that my stitching isn't going to come undone. Just like this. And when I'm finished, I'll just snip the ends. Now, doesn't that look nice? If you look a little closer, you can see the bits I've cut out of that net. I still think it's going to be a great picture. It's dark enough now that it will suggest night, but a real moonlit night. You know, in the next stage, I'm going to get my trees and I'm going to pop them down, and then what I'm hoping to do is use some of those lovely shiny ribbon like threads that I had, the ones that I unraveled and showed you at the beginning. Wouldn't it be lovely to have them on the edges of my trees, looking like the moonlight is just frosting the edges of the trees? Now those trees look a little bit too too even. I might try and do something that'll make it look more natural. But look how handy this little surround is for picking out the picture. So our picture is building. We keep changing the flavour of it, but we're still sticking with this theme. And I think it's going to work out really great. And I hope you do too, and that you would like to see part 3, where we'll finish it off and make some silver-limbed trees in the foreground, and maybe a few other little bits and pieces. There's those roots. Doesn't that look great? You know, look at different things that you have and how it may be used. And start your own interesting picture. So don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Or you can leave a donation should you wish to at the link. Thanks for watching.